Thought I'd follow up on my car. I took this in for a front end alignment and it drove in fine. I did not have the carburetor adjusted. I didn't have it set at all. The timing was off probably a degree or two. I had it set at 10. It started right up. It did everything it's supposed to. It drove really nice going into town to drop it off for front end alignment. And when I dropped it off, they told me that on the passenger side, my upper A-arm, I had my shaft in wrong. They said that shaft, I had in backwards. Not sure exactly what they meant by it, but they said it was in backwards. And I said, well, just pull the upper A-arm off and fix it. They said, all right. A couple hours go by. I drove into town to see what was going on because I thought, wow, they should have had that done by now. And in doing so, they stripped out the nut threads. And these are lock nuts. And he goes, I'm going to have to order some. I said, no, you don't. I've got some at home. Let me just go home and grab a couple. I've got spares. I took them into the shop. He said, okay, I have this all done for you. I said, all right. Hour or two go by. I get a phone call saying that they switched it around and made it worse. So they had to take it back apart and put it back the way I had it to begin with. And in doing so, they stripped out the damn threads on the bolts. And those are special bolts in case no one knows that. And I said, great. That's just fantastic. So they ordered a new set of bolts and nuts. It took a week to get my front end alignment done. A week, 7 days. I get a notice that said it was done. So I go in to pick it up. And they proceeded to tell me that something screwed up in my motor. It's popping, it's banging, it's really, really terrible. They said it's backfiring like you wouldn't believe. They said it sounds like bombs going off when it backfires, and it blew a hole in my muffler. Yeah, brand new muffler with like 20, 30 miles on it at the very best. It blew my muffler apart at the seam. So I get the great privilege of buying a new muffler. That's fantastic. All this because all I wanted was a front end alignment. So I get in the car, and it started right up, sitting there idling. I said, all right, I'm going to go to the gas station, fill it up, get some better fuel in it. So I go and get gas, fill it up. On the way home, this thing was popping like bombs going off, explosions. I mean, it was crazy, like someone was shooting a shotgun off right next to me. There's something messed up in this motor big time. So I pull the distributor out, make sure the gears, everything's there. It is. I rechecked my carburetor. Yeah, the floats are a little high, but that can be adjusted. And I did a compression check. That's why all the spark plugs are out of it. You can see there's a compression gauge here, hose hooked up. In my compression check, all these cylinders are 155 except two. Number 7 is at 130. So I'm like, well, that's fine. Number 1 is dead. 0, nothing. There's nothing there. I pulled the valve covers off, and the rocker arms are going up and down. At least they appear to be. I don't have anyone here to watch it. I could probably put my phone on it and see what it's doing, record it. I'll probably do that too here in a minute, but it really doesn't much matter. There's something wrong with this number 1 cylinder. So what I'm going to do is I have it up top dead center right now, and I hook my compression gauge up to it, and I've got it going to a regulator, and I got it going to my air hose. So my goal is here, I'm hoping if I turn this air pressure up, the very best I can hope for is that there's air coming out of the exhaust. If there's air coming out of the exhaust, yes, I have to pull the motor apart. I got to take the head off from it to figure out if I got a bent valve or broke springs. But that would be the best case scenario, because if it's the exhaust valve, I'll hear air coming out the tailpipes, which means it's a head. If I don't hear air coming out of that tailpipe and I hear it down in the crankcase, I'm screwed. That means I lost rings or I have a hole in a piston. I checked my oil and there's no gas in the oil. The oil's still full. There's nothing being added to it. So I don't think the piston has a hole in it. The valve or the rings were all new. I can't imagine, but they could break. You never know. So I'm going to turn this air on, and I'm hoping I hear air coming out of the exhaust. If not, I'm going to be pulling a motor out of a car. So let's start cranking it, see what happens. I hear it. Look at that. Hear that? I can even feel it. So that's good news, because I don't have to pull the whole engine out. But I still have to pull the head off to find out what went wrong in there. I'll probably pull the valve cover off and see if I can't just see if there's a broken spring there or something. I have a feeling there's a bent valve. But that's good news. I mean, the best news I could hope for. Well, after seeing the video of these going up and down and the studs sticking up are the same length and everything, so none of it's pulled out or anything, because these are not screw-in studs. But obviously that's all working. So those valves are not sealing. That exhaust valve definitely is not sealing in that head, or it could be bent, or there could be a chunk missing out of it. I won't know until I pull the head off, but there's no way around it. I got to pull this head off, which means whole top of the motor's got to come back apart. Everything in the front's got to come back off. The exhaust's got to come back out. Big pain in the ass, but it has to be done because this is no good the way it is. I didn't know what went on here. I really didn't. I thought it was just odd that it ran okay going in and everything, but something got broke inside that head. Like I can't blame the shop 100%. The thing is, the shop and the shop owner, I trust him 100%. He knows his old stuff. He knows classic cars. He's got a 69 Trans Am. He's got a 69 Judge. He's building another 69 GTO, but he's putting an LS in that one. He knows his motors. He knows his stuff. The alignment issue, I'll just chalk it up as things go wrong when things go wrong. The head issue, I can't 100% blame them at all. I mean, I can't even give them 1% of the blame here, because when I first got the engine all back in here and everything, and I tried to dial in the 850 that was on it, that is a 750, the vacuum gauge was just bouncing all over the damn place, and that should have been an indication there was a valve problem, and I kind of ignored it. and put a smaller carb on it, thinking that would solve my issue. Like I said, it ran fantastic. It runs it's fast, but get this valve taken care of, it's going to run a hell of a lot better, and get a new muffler put on it. So that's what I'm going to be doing over the course of I don't know how long. It's going to take me a while because I can't get in no hurry here pulling all this apart. But I'm going to pull this apart, and hopefully it all comes apart pretty easily. It should. It has almost no freaking miles on it, you know. At best, with test driving it, no front end alignment, I don't think they drove it at all. I haven't looked at the odometer, but there can't be more than 20 miles on this thing at the high end. I would guess more like 10. If any of you know your Pontiacs and you see anything I'm not seeing, or you have another opinion of what could be wrong here, but everything indicates number one cylinder is dead. We know that. It has no compression whatsoever. You see me hook up the air to the cylinder, and you can hear it coming out the exhaust. So we know that's not a good sign. Could it be a blown head gasket? I doubt it, because it's not leaking over into the other cylinder. You know, you think you would hear that in the compression test, but we'll get pulled apart here and find out what's going on. I'll put another video up down the road. Like I say, it's going to be a while. It's going to take me time to pull this back apart. I hate doing it, but it's got to get done right. So if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, share, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can on this. Later.